one and all. Welcome to Leaders Connect 360 episode LC0121. Leaders Connect 360 is CSR initiative by Visa Training and organized by the Mask Leadership. My name is Priyanka and I'm working as a soft skill facilitator in Ambuja Cement Foundation. Leaders Connect 360 is started with the specific objective of inviting 1,000 plus leaders and create 1,000,000 leaders. It is an online hub where every Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. we learn from top management leaders on Zoom Live, and once in quarter in each city we have an offline networking meet to network, support, and grow with the leaders. That's when we call it Leaders Create More Leaders. Currently, all are muted, and we will be giving you an opportunity to speak to our guest, Harbinder sir. Welcome, sir. Good evening. CEO, BW Healthcare and BW Wellbeing World on the topic Building Personal Brand for Business Leaders. Before you are unmuted, let me share that we are currently live on LinkedIn, and this episode LC0121 is being recorded. First time visitors may click on the WhatsApp, FB, and LinkedIn link on the chat box to get updated by joining us in creating more leaders. All in-house are requested to turn on your videos, which will help in making the episode highly more interactive. So we all are ready to meet our guest, Harbinder sir. Please type yes in the chat box. And also our corporate trainer, Alagu ma'am. Thank you. Before the introduction of the guest, let me also introduce Mr. Pankaj, Managing Partner, Bija Training, will interact with our guest along with the panel discussion leader, Ms. Alagu ma'am. I shall welcome you all. So over to you, Pankaj sir.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Harbinder sir. On behalf of Leaders Connect, the Mass Leadership, and the BJ Training. Thank you for taking your time, sir. So, thank you. Sir. So before, I will not take much of the time because today's topic itself is very interesting, which is called Building Personal Brand for Business Leaders. And yes, when I saw Mr. Narula's profile, so I have been able to go through your website as well, sir, right? So that is where it says that, what we say, we practice, right? So we would like to, get more insights from your experience and expertise that will definitely help us to learn something. So before we move forward, let us have a formal introduction of our guest, Mr. Harbinder Narula. And I would request Mr. Arul to play the welcome video. So before that, also the agenda I will share. I would like to thank Miss Alagu for taking the opportunity to take up the panel discussion at a short notice. So thank you so much, Ms. Alagu, for taking up this role. Okay, thank you so much for that. And after that, we will have a short quiz on the learnings which will be shared by Mr. Harbinder. So let's see how confidently people are listening to the learnings of Mr. Harbinder Narula, and the winner will get the book written by Mr. Prakash Sharma, The Master Leadership. Post that, we will have an open Q&A wherein the visitors will have an opportunity to ask certain questions to our guest, Mr. Narula. Post that, we will have our today's Mr. Senthil Kumar, who is known for the summary, right? So the summary will be done by Mr. Senthil Kumar, and that's how we'll close the session by 7:30. So Arul, can we have the welcome video of Mr. Narula, please? sorry, welcome, Mr. Narula, formally to the
Thank you
session.
so much.
And I must really say that today's topic is being reflected in your experience. Okay, that is where you have been able to create brands. So welcome, sir, once again. And I
Thank you so
would like
much.
Alagu, Miss Alagu, to take up the panel discussion. Over to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Pankaj. Very warm welcome to Mr. Harbinder, sir.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you, Pankaj. Thank you, Arul. It's always a pleasure to be part of Leaders Connect. So I'm happy to be part of this episode too. So can we start with the question, sir?
Absolutely, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in.
You can call me Harbinder. I'll feel more comfortable.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I would like to ask you, what is personal branding according to you? And when did you recognize the importance of building personal brand as a business leader?
See, I'll tell you what personal branding is something like if you just go online and search for what is personal branding, you get various answers spoken by various business leaders, coaches, consultants. But one of the most accepted, easy to understand definition of what personal brand is was spoken by Jeff Bezos when he says that it is what people talk about you when you are not in the room. And
Okay.
and that is exactly what personal branding is, because if you look at specifically in India, I would assume that it is same across the world, but something that you would see in India is that people have heard about you, people have seen you on social media, but they have never met you.
Okay.
But when someone asks them about you, despite not having met you in person, they will still have an opinion of you. Opinion of you that they have formed in their mind basis what they have seen you do on social media or what other people are telling them. So this is exactly what is happening in today's day and age. And it was very interesting that the first time I actually became conscious about this concept of personal branding, it was accidental. It was accidental because I was working on a project which was a healthcare project, and I was connecting with doctors, and everyone told me that, Harvinder, these doctors that you're trying to reach, they won't have time for you because they do not have time. There's a 3 to 4 week wait for paid consultations. They're not able to spend enough time with their families as well.
True.
And why would they spend time with you? There were companies which were willing to pay them money for their time. But when I went and met them, they started engaging with me. They started participating in what I was doing in healthcare. And people used to ask me that, why is it that they're taking out time? And I did not know, I didn't have an answer because I thought maybe I was helping them in their social media. Maybe it was a low cost pro bono content creation that was happening for them. Until a friend of mine actually came and told me that, Harvinder, you're actually turning them into brands. I was like, how can I turn an individual into a brand? I'd always heard that, a company needs to be branded,
Correct.
a product needs to be a brand, or even when it comes to a doctor, the clinic needs to, or a hospital needs to become a brand. But I did not understand that, how I was turning them into a brand. But then I realized I actually embarked on my research and study to find out what does personal brand mean? How does it get built? Is it just creating visibility for them online, or is it much more than that? And that's when I started working on this. After researching, I realized that everyone needs to become a brand. Everyone, in fact, what I would say is everyone is a brand. Everyone is a brand. I mean, after talking to you, I will have an opinion of you. And when somebody asks me, I will share my opinion about you, and which, without your knowing, will transform into creating your brand over a period of time. And that is what personal branding is all about. The only thing is we are so unintentional about what we are doing that we do not even control, or we do not even realize how our brand is getting set up. And we keep wondering, yeah, ऐसा क्या मैंने किया, लोग मेरे बारे में ऐसा क्यों सोचते हैं. And that is what reality is. But that is what your brand is getting created by other people. And you're not even aware of it.
Yeah, that was awesomely explained, sir. It is very needed. Personal branding, like you said, everybody needs is a brand and needs the personal branding. Yeah. So in this today's fast-paced business world, how do you think business leaders can effectively build a personal brand for themselves, which sets them apart from other competitors?
See, it is not just about competition only. It is imperative that a business leader should become a brand, and especially when we are talking of business leaders. I would assume that we are talking of senior management, leadership positions, CXOs. You would have noticed that there is a lot of hesitancy in senior management trying to work on their personal brand because they feel that, मेरा promoter क्या कहेंगे, owners क्या कहेंगे, मेरा boss क्या कहेगा, CEO क्या कहेगा, director क्या कहेगा.
Okay.
And because, people think that आप अपने आप को ही promote करते जा रहे हो, you should be more concerned about business. But you do not realize that when you promote yourself and you create a standing for yourself as a business leader in the ecosystem that you operate in, wherever you go, you are representing the brand that backs you up. Business that you are associated in, the brand that you work for, you're taking that brand. I mean, if I were to go on a conference, be on a dais, for example, right now, you introduced me as a CEO of BW Healthcare World. Right? So because of me, the brand that I work for also gets represented.
Getting promoted, yeah.
Second is the brand needs to have a voice, right? Every brand needs to have a voice. But who is going to be the zaria or the medium through which that voice will reach out? It has to be people, the business leaders. Now imagine if there's a business leader who is a very strong personal brand, because of which he or she is invited to forums and conferences or advisory boards or associations where they could impact the policies of the government, So you become such a strong voice, but at the same time, who do you represent? Whose interest are you representing? Your business. So first is it's important to understand that why should business leaders be motivated and inspired to become brands? So that's very important. But the second thing that comes to our mind is that, how do you build your brand? So first, it is extremely important that the frills need to be there. The visibility for yourself needs to happen, So you need to be out there and people must be able to see you and hear you and understand your opinions of what you want to share. So visibility becomes extremely important. Now, how do you get that visibility? Now, visibility is not just social media. Visibility needs to be in getting your speaker slots. I mean, the fact that, I'm standing here in front of you, it is giving me visibility to a set of people who are coming and listening to me right now. Yeah. These people may not have even heard of Harbinder Narula earlier. They may not even have known that there's a person called Harbinder who exists, right? So for me, there are at least few more people who know about me and what I do, right? So getting speakers thoughts is extremely important, and sometimes you are able to get that because of your own efforts, and sometimes you get through your PR agencies and marketing agencies. Third is, something that people fear is sharing opinions, because sometimes your opinion is very different from what the world is speaking. But the fact that every thought leader has become a thought leader because his opinions mattered. Right? So you have to be opinionated. Being opinionated is nothing wrong. It is you are vocal about what you think is the right thing to do, So share your opinions, be vocal about it, become a thought leader. in the industry, because people come to listen to aspirational thought leaders. And that is when they will value you for your value systems and for the beliefs that you are bringing to the table. Third thing, which is extremely important, I want to, I'm digressing a little away from how to become a brand to why should you become a brand, and specifically, because the topic is around the business leaders. A lot of senior folks, CEOs, when I speak to them, they're like, when I ask them, what is your identity? They come and say that, I'm the CEO of XYZ organization. I'm the CEO of this particular brand. But the fact is, every person, everything, and every role has an expiry date. Right?
Okay.
Everything, every person, and every role has an expiry date. One day you will retire. One day that brand will be not backing you up. Somebody else will be taking your space. Right? What would you then be known for? Right? Because today people are working post-retirement as well. And that time they will not be hired because of what they did in the past. They will be hired for the value that they bring, for the money in exchange for the money that is being given to them. Right? So people must understand what is the value that you bring to the table than anything else. So that is the reason I feel that, every senior leader, every CEO, every CXO has a responsibility to bring out and be known for the values that they bring to the table. So what is it that you did so differently? I mean, I used to work at Google. I was part of the team that led to a YouTube India launch, but I don't talk about it. The reason is because, was it really me? It's not that no, forget about the team. Even if I was not there, ऐसा तो नहीं कि YouTube India launch नहीं होता.
Yeah.
YouTube तो फिर भी India launch करता. And the question is that had I not been there, somebody else would have been there in that position. So you've been there at the right time, at the right place. But what is it that I'm known for, or what is it that I would like to be known for, is that how did it happen differently because of me? Right? What is the value that I brought to the table while this product was being launched? That is what will take you for the subsequent assignments that you will be getting.
Yeah.
I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah. Excellent. I liked when you said we should first understand why a personal branding is needed,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah. And so now social media is very powerful these days. And how can leaders use the social media to their best to connect with the audience, and establish a strong brand? Now we have digital marketing is the order of the day.
Absolutely. So, Alagu, we must understand that social media is something that we cannot ignore. We have to use it to our advantage because it is the fastest way to reach out and connect with people.
Correct. Yeah.
The beauty of social media is that irrespective of who you are, irrespective of what age group, irrespective of your seniority, all of us are present on some social network or the other. Some people may not be very senior, people may not be there on Instagram, but they'll be there on LinkedIn. Some people may not be there on Facebook, but they're on Twitter, right? They may not be active in terms of putting content, but it does not mean that they're not there consuming the content. They may not be the ones who will come and like your post on LinkedIn, but it doesn't mean that they have not seen it, right?
They're watching us, yeah.
They're watching us. Second thing is, in fact, just before I came in for this conversation, I was at a Web 3.0 event that is being hosted by our organization today. And we were talking about the concept of personalization, creating personal experiences. The technology has advanced to a point where I can understand, if I really know my audience, who they are, if I can create a persona of the audience, I would know what social media they are on. So it's the basics of marketing, that be where your audience is. We've learned that while marketing our products.
Yeah, way back.
कि जहाँ पे audience है वहाँ पे आप अपने आप को promote करो, ठीक है ना?
Yeah.
But the one thing that I really want to emphasize on, we have started believing that number of followers, number of subscribers, number of views define that I have become a brand. You know, we see that on Instagram that, you know, I'm an Instagram celebrity, I'm an Instagram influencer. Right? But when it comes to branding, we must understand that social media is just a tool. It is not the end all and be all of your personal brand. It is a tool that helps you engage with your audience. It helps you connect with your audience. It helps you put a promise across to them that what is it they can expect if they were to engage with you.
Yeah.
Right? What is it? What does Harbinder look like? What does Harbinder, you know, is he a pleasant person? Is he somebody who's a kharoos? Is he somebody who will be adding value to you? So there's a promise of what to expect if I were to meet Harbinder.
Yeah.
And it also creates, while the promise is there, it helps you create perception in the mind of the audience. They start thinking of you in a particular manner based on what they have heard, based on what they have seen on social media, based on what they're watching in your videos. But that is a temporary personal brand.
Okay.
Because of the social media, they will actually come and meet you, or they may want to. Now they've discovered you, your visibility is there. They understand that maybe Harbinder can add value to me. So they are motivated and inspired to create or engage with me. But when they meet me, there are three things that could happen, which is जैसा सोचा था वैसा ही निकला है, जैसा सोचा था वैसा कुछ भी नहीं है, he's an overstated guy, और third is कि जैसा सोचा था उससे बहुत ज्यादा है, so he is very understated in social media. So what I'm saying is that social media will create a promise which is a temporary perception, but when you engage with people, that is when the more permanent or lasting perception of who you are will be created based on how you will make people feel. What is the experience that they have will supersede the perception that they had created while they had not met you in person. So social media is a tool, very important tool to help you build your personal brand better, faster, but it is not your personal brand. There is much more to it. It will help you create engagement, but your real personal brand will be when people really meet you and really create a perception there.
Okay. So which would you prefer, which would you suggest, sir? Like you said, three things will happen. So first though is not advisable. So do you think we'll have to be in par with what we portray outside, or we'll have to underplay on social media? Which is better?
No, you don't have to underplay. Best is when your perception on social media matches your real reality, because that is when it will be proven that who you are is your authentic self.
Okay.
You are the way you are, whether you are in social media or in real life, that's the way you are. And that's the best way. Authenticity is the basic fundamental of building your personal brand. We must remember, when we meet someone who's overhyped and in reality we feel that okay, it's not as good, तो हम उसको conman या fraud बोलते हैं.
Yeah.
So you really don't want to be a conman or a fraud. It is okay that if you are understated, you still feel better that जिसको मिले वो तो जो सुना था वो तो बहुत कम है यार, ये reality में बहुत अच्छा है. But the real is that जो आप हो वैसे हो. You are what you are. Which is why, if you go back to what I said earlier, it is okay to have opinions. It may not match with your opinion, but that's my perception. That's my opinion about anything.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And have you faced any challenges while building your personal brand? any obstacles that you faced, and how did you overcome them, if you had so?
See, honestly, I'll tell you what, for a very, very long time, until very recently, I was not even conscious about building my personal brand. You know, it was just getting created until I realized कि personal brand नाम की कोई चीज होती है. And when I was building my personal brand, one of the biggest things that opened up for me was that, like in the last question that we were discussing, that social media versus anything else, we realized that there is something called executive presence. Specifically, when we are talking of business leaders, there's something called executive presence, which is your social media branding, which is your speaker slots in events, or your presence through PR activities that companies do. That is when you build your executive presence. But the branding is about the values that you bring to the table, which is when people start engaging. So the biggest challenge that I faced was that people were creating perceptions about me, and I was not even aware of it. And I did not know how to counter that. And I'll share with you one example. There was while I was working at Google, there are these corporate training programs that happen, and there was this one such training program where there was a 360-degree reviews about different people. So we were talking about the perception that you think people have of you, something that we call it as perception of perceptions.
Yeah.
And on the same thing, there was a metric of understanding what is the real perception that other people have of you. And you realize that, what people thought of you and what you thought that people were thinking of you, but completely, there was a dichotomy in it. Right? And that is when I realized here, aisa to hai nahi. I was, for example, sometimes a friendly boss, who feels that, okay, let me take my team with me. I should not live like a boss. I should be more humane in my approach. And you think that you're a better leader than anyone else. But then you realize everybody thinking that, you're a very weak boss. You're scared of firing your team. You're scared to bring out the challenges, right? So the biggest challenge that I have faced, which actually helped me understand that I need to be in control of the perception that I create, was when I realized that what I thought people were thinking of me was very different from what they actually thought of me, right? So that is the biggest challenge that I've faced.
Raghu ma'am, you're on mute. Please unmute yourself.
No.
Yeah. Now we can hear. Now we can hear you.
Yeah. No, how did you overcome that is what I asked.
It is very simple, but simple things are very tough to do.
Very tough.
It is, for me, I have a little different perspective to personal branding, which is there is a philosophical side to it, and which is what I used to do when I was helping people become brands until I took on my current role. Was that, I used to take them on a journey to become mindful of what they were doing.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of consciousness that you have to bring in what you do, what you say, right? To what you put on social media, to how you respond to other people's posts, to how you respond to your teams, to your vendors, to your bosses, to your employees, because each action of yours is creating a perception in the minds of someone else.
Yeah.
So for example, the way you speak to your employee while you are, expressing your displeasure on certain things, the way you engage, there are other people who may be silently watching.
Yeah. Okay.
And they are creating a perception about you. ये तो ऐसा है, ये तो गलत बात करता है, ठीक है ना, ये बंदा ठीक नहीं है, या ये बहुत अच्छा इंसान है. So you do not realize the impact that your actions, your spoken words, your comments, your gestures are having on the people around you. Simple things like when we go to a hotel, why do you, why are we consciously managing our manners while sitting in a five-star hotel? You know,
We are watched.
we are watched, right?
Yeah.
And especially when you're becoming a brand, when people are recognizing you, you do not, you may not know anyone else around you, but there are other people who may know of you. They may not know you, but they may know of you, right?
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
So that is one. So consciousness is extremely important. Second thing that I really, and which differentiates me from everyone else who's talking of personal branding, is that I believe that you are the only one who can build your brand. Your social media agency can help you only to a point. I'll give you an example. When a doctor is there, since I'm in the healthcare industry, when a doctor is there, one of the most powerful tools that they have to grow their practice is testimonials. Now, what is the best time to get a testimonial? When the patient is relieved of pain, just got over. That is the time when the patient or the patient's family is in gratitude of what you did, and acknowledging your efforts and the relieving of pain. And that is when they are most easily accessible for getting a testimony. Is your social media agency available with you at that time? Is your marketing agency available with you at that time? Probably not. Now, what you need to do is to be able to use your phone, to be able to take a selfie, to be able to communicate with your this thing. But now the thing is, the doctor says, boss, मैं तो बहुत senior doctor हूँ.
I cannot do that.
ऐसे करता हूँ. Right? So what it requires is a mindset change.
Okay.
You have to become comfortable in wanting to build your brand and to do what it needs to build your brand. I'm not saying that is the right thing to do for everyone. It's different for different people. But it requires a mindset change, because what you can do, your social media agency will not be able to do. Your social media agency will come back and tell you that, sir, we want to take a video of yours. Now, until you are comfortable, until you are fully in conviction of what you want to say, you will not be comfortable shooting that video. Right?
Correct.
You have to first become comfortable. You have to create a mindset change for you to embark on a journey to start building your personal brand. And we have a lot of innovations. All of us have grown up with parents telling us, "Paise peड़ पे नहीं उगते, अपने धोबिया मिट्ठू नहीं बनते. Your work should speak louder than words. You should not promote yourself."
Yeah, true.
You've grown up with that. So there are a lot of belief systems which actually stop you or from doing the things that you need to do. But we don't realize that the environment that we are living in is very dynamic. If you don't do it, it is your loss.
Loss, correct. I can relate it to so much.
and when Alugu, something that I really want to tell people, I mean, since we are talking of personal branding, I don't want to lose this opportunity, is that everyone needs to be a brand. When I started working on personal branding, my first few clients were doctors. And then I realized that anyone who's a self-employed professional, like a chartered accountant who cannot advertise, a lawyer who cannot advertise because of code of ethics, the doctors, they can't advertise, but they need to be seen as good doctors. They need to be seen for the value that you bring to the table. Right? But then I further realized that it is impacting everyone. For example, a housewife at home. She's not working. She may not have done a post-graduation or anything, but whether her opinion matters at home or not, is her opinion respected and accepted at home, is based on what other people in the family think of her. Is she taking wise decisions or not? Right? वो बहुत समझदार है, उसकी बात मान लो, उसने दुनिया देखी है, ठीक है, उसने करी लेकिन दुनिया देखी है. That is the perception that people have in their mind of that lady. That's her brand. Look at a student. एक टीचर है जो एक स्टूडेंट को बहुत पसंद करता है, उसको वो फेवर अगर उसके दिमाग में बैठ गया कि ये स्टूडेंट बिल्कुल बेकार है, शैतान है, that is an ingrained, that's is branded, that's a perception. So imagine the impact that will be there on those students. So the students need to build a brand, and some of them are smart enough to do that. They may not be the smartest kids, but they build their rapport with their professor.
Correct.
So everyone needs to be a brand. Everyone needs to consciously be aware of what people are thinking of them. And that does not mean that you make a fool of people. So it has to be authentic, and that is when you have a sustainable brand.
Correct. Yeah. Awesome, sir. Awesome, Mr. Harbinder. I'll practice calling you Harbinder.
No, absolutely. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. So as such, you had given so much of advice and very valuable ones. So anything else you would like to add on to this when somebody is starting to build their personal brand? Any aspiring business leaders?
See, first is get comfortable with the concept of building your brand. Right? It is not something that you do. I'll give you a small example. I will not name the person, but there's a very, very senior architect, elderly gentleman, very well known. I mean, he is probably the biggest of architects. Go and touch his feet. And we were talking about pushing him to build a brand for himself. And he's on a spiritual journey since he's senior in his age. And he said, Harbinder, why do I need to build a brand? Why do I need to go out and be on social media? Why do I need to do these things? And my only conversation with him was that, listen, why not? You, like I said earlier, every product, every role has an expiry date. Every human being also has an expiry date. There is no human being who's born with knowledge. Whatever we know today is acquired knowledge, acquired skills, acquired experience, right? And we have learned so much. But what I know is with me until I share it with everyone else, right? And when I want to share it with anyone else, why would I restrict it to people who come and connect with me? For example, a doctor, even if the doctor himself or herself is updating himself with knowledge every month, it is restricted to people who walk into their clinic.
Correct.
Why not take a step out? You step out of your clinic and share your knowledge with the world, and do it in a manner so that people understand that it is coming with rich experience, right? And instead of mentoring one person, you could be mentoring thousands of people. Your knowledge, what you have done should outlive your life. Right? So sometimes you do disservice to yourself when you do not go out and talk to other people. Now, when you want people to listen to you, you have to be respected for your knowledge. How will that respect come? Only when people respect you for your experience. That can only be known when they have a very high aspirational perception about you. It can only come if you have consciously built that brand for yourself.
Awesome. I like the way you reframed for the architect, because he's like, why should I come out on social media?
He has Guinness Book of World Record in his name. He's done some amazing stuff. Share how you think. See, everybody knows you for your design, but how do you think about design? What is your process? What happens inside of you is shared with the world so that other people can learn from it. And your design thinking can trigger off that kind of a thought process in more people.
True, very true. Yeah. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else you would like to share, sir? I think we're done with the questions.
Just become mindful, just become conscious about what you're doing, and you will become a brand. There's one thing that is very, very important. people do not know what should they be known for.
Mm.
You know, that's a very important aspect. मैं brand बनूंगा कैसे? Because अभी तो मैं जहाँ काम कर रहा हूँ, I am known for that only, and I certainly feel that everybody is coming to me. Just remember everything that, you know, your relationship, when people are coming to meet you, do not take it to your head. Becoming a brand does not mean that you become arrogant. Be humble. Be humble. Rephrase. I was yesterday talking to a spiritual master, and she very beautifully said that, you know, change the question of, instead of what is it that you know, world should do for me, you should figure out what is it that I could do for the world. Right? So when people are coming to you, you think that you're very important. You are not that important. What you can do for them is of importance. That is the reason they're coming to you. Even if you are a CEO of a large brand, please understand you are on that seat doing what you can do for the other clients who can come for you, your vendors, etc. So they're not meeting you, they're meeting anyone who's in that seat. So you're just a spock for the organization. How many of these people will come and meet you after you're not on that seat? Right?
True.
Instead, turn it around and see how many people will come to me because of me, and how that can benefit the organization that I represent. So reverse the game. Be useful to your organization. That is when the company will value you for the work you do, and your belief systems and the value systems, your integrity, and what you are genuinely doing for them. That is an extremely important thing to do.
Yeah, true. Thank you so much for patiently answering my questions. This is more value to me as a life coach. You know, personal branding is very important for me.
Absolutely.
And I'm on the start of the journey.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad.
Pankaj, over to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Alagu. Thank you for this panel discussion. And Narula sir, I mean, you know, you have really aligned my thoughts, what I've been thinking, what I used to think about personal branding, but really today with the kind of, you know, experience sharing, you have really aligned my thought process. And rightly told by you that personal branding is more about, you know, how best we touch the heart and the mind of others.
Absolutely.
Right? How would we like to be recalled by the people? How is that they will remember? If, you know, we say that one word. So what is your friend calls you by that one word that represents the kind of branding you create in the heart and mind of people, right, sir? So,
Absolutely.
and I believe the more you network, the more are the chances for you to reach out to more and more people, right? And with the kind of experience and the expertise we have, for sure, yes, we can definitely help people to go to the next level. And that's where those people will remember us with our name or with our, you know, what is the position or our knowledge or whatever. So, but thank you so much for giving all the insights, sir. Really helpful. Amazing, sir. Thank you so much. So now, without taking much of the time, Ms. Alagu, now you have, you know, attained a lot of, you know, insights from Narula, sir. Let's check how best the other people have also been able to attain any knowledge. So you can ask the quiz question, and let's see who's the winner for the day. So please take up the quiz for the day.
Okay. A very important point Mr. Harbinder said, when I asked the question, how can they build their personal branding effectively? He said why they should first understand why a branding is needed.
Miss Alagu, we are missing your voice.
Can
you put the question in the chat box, please? Can you put the question in chat box?
What was the answer to that? I'm on unmute. Yeah.
No.
Hello.
Now you can speak the question, please.
I can, is it?
Your voice was dragging, actually.
You can hear me now? Okay. Okay, I'll put it on the chat box.
Yeah, please.
Okay, now audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So Mr. Harbinder said, when I asked how can they effectively do the personal branding? Okay, I'll put it on the chat box also. he said why first they should understand why they need personal branding. So what was the answer to that?
So, Mr. Lagu, we received one response by Mr. Sukumar. Is it the answer?
There is more to it. That is not the
Yes.
answer.
Mr. Parsarthi has also responded. Mr. Nagaraju has also responded. So,
No,
is there anyone?
The question is, he said why one should do a personal branding, a very important one, different. These were all part of it.
So, was it a one word or is it a sentence? What do you expect in terms of answer?
If we will not do, then who will do it? No. Okay. Okay. The answer was Pankaj. Could you try?
No. That doesn't allow me actually, right?
Oh, okay. Okay. The answer was, he said you should be known as you, even after you leave the position.
Right.
What is your value? That's your own value.
So I believe then Mr. Sukumaran is close to the answer which you are talking about. That's the value they bring to others, right?
Yeah.
So whom would you like to give it to?
Yeah, I think Mr. Sukumaran.
Okay, fine. So Sukumaran sir, congratulations for being the winner for today's quiz. And you'll be awarded with the Master Leadership book written by Mr. Prakash Sharma. So here I would like to give you an opportunity to unmute yourself and you can ask a question to our guest today, Mr. Narula. So Mr. Sukumaran, you can ask the question.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for this session. It was amazing. Actually, I have a strong belief like only our work should speak for itself. I don't promote like people don't know me whether I exist or not. In this kind of situation, how do you, what would you advise me to change myself?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you have to change your own mindset, right? And the reason I say that is because kitni bari hum, when we are at workplace, you may be in a job, right? You are doing your best, you're doing your great work, but people are not noticing it. And you realize during appraisal that I did so much, but people have not noticed it, because it got hidden, because it was a team effort or was seen as a team effort. So it is our duty to bring it out, right? Second is, like the quiz question that was there, one of the things as an answer is that you need to bring out your uniqueness, right? If you have a particular ailment, disease, health condition, what one doctor will do versus what another doctor will do will be the same prognosis, will be the same treatment. But you are comfortable going to one doctor and you're not comfortable going to the other doctor because one, he may not be listening to you, he's not giving you enough time, he's not polite, he makes you feel that tum meri baat to sunte nahi ho, right? So now this one person will be better than the other person in whatever unique way that is there. But unless people talk about him and people say, or people tell you that he's a good doctor, he's much better than everyone else, the world will not know, right? But imagine if he himself does not focus on bringing out his uniqueness, even you will not know. If you will not know, you will not talk about it, right? Similarly, at work, you want to be known as one among many people, unknown star, little known for your work, little known for the differentiation or the value that you bring to the table, you will always remain unhappy, right? Would you want to be happy? Would you want to be gratified for your efforts?
Yes.
If you really want to be gratified for your efforts, it will only happen if the other person notices it. But if the other person is not noticing it, figure out ways for how your work will be noticed, right? And whose responsibility is it?
Mine.
Will somebody else do it for you?
No.
Boss, we're living in a world nobody will help other people. They will rather bring you down, right? So it is your responsibility to go make sure that you are noticed, your work is noticed. So which means you will have to make an effort. You will have to be visible about it. Now, I'll give you a small example. I'm sorry, I'm taking a little bit of a time, but this is important. That if there is something that you know, right? What stops you to write a blog about that? Right? There is something more than what you are able to do at your work. You feel you're underutilized, or there could be other ways of doing things better, but you're not getting an opportunity. How will you get noticed? How will your boss know that your knowledge is much more than what you are doing? If you're writing blogs on a certain topic consistently, every week you're writing about it, suddenly your boss will notice, okay, you know what? He's writing every week on this particular topic. One, he has interest in it. Second is he has knowledge about it, right? So suddenly his perception about you changes, and he might say that, listen, Sukumar, why don't you take this responsibility? Can you tell us how we can do this better? So, it is not always personal branding is not always bragging about yourself. So you have to first take this thing out of your head. It is not bragging about yourself, but it is about bringing your uniqueness in front so that it is noticed. Right? So don't mistake it that I'll have to brag about myself, I'll have to show off. It is not show off. It has to be bringing it out authentically, that you know something, or you have interest in something, or you are, there's so many Instagram influencers who are not fitness experts, but they are talking about fitness because they are fitness enthusiasts. So that's the point I'm trying to make.
Thank you.
Does it answer your question?
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yeah.
I hope you will take it and implement it.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, Sukumar sir and Narula sir. Thank you. So, if any other visitor wish to take any questions, so we would be in position to take 2 more questions only, because the time is less for us. So, if any question, please raise your hand. We'll unmute you. Otherwise, we can go to the. Yeah, is there anyone? Arul, did we have any? So, any questions? So if not, I would invite our summary leader, Mr. Senthil Kumar. Senthil sir, over to you for the summary for the session.
I think Vinay Mishra
Vinay
has
raised
a
his
question.
hand. Yes.
Okay, sorry. So Vinay sir, please, you can ask the question. We can unmute you. Sorry, Senthil sir, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you. And we are lucky that we had such nice speaker in our board. So, sir, I just wanted to know about the branding. Because sometimes what happens is we approach some of the business leaders for the business, and then we get a negative answer. Or sometimes we think, okay, that it has gone wasted. Or sometimes approaching through emails, and our emails get blocked. And sometimes our email itself becomes a spam email. Means when I'm going sending to the freshers, it becomes a spam. It automatically goes to the spam mail. Why? Because I'm excessively approaching the people. So how to overcome such situations?
So Vinayji, first of all, one of the things as an entrepreneur or entrepreneurial in your work is that get comfortable with rejections. That's extremely important. That's one. But while you get comfortable with rejections, you need to introspect and figure out why are they responding as a negative, right? And it is not only responding as a negative. I remember when I embarked on my coaching journey a few years ago. I used to wonder that, when I go to a client and I ask them for an X amount of money, they start negotiating, right? And they say कि नहीं यार इतना ये तो बहुत महंगा है, ठीक है, इतना नहीं, कुछ कम कर सकते हैं कुछ. Or ultimately some of them will say that I can't afford it, so they will reject or regret. But same thing being presented by someone else in the industry who may or may not be as smart as I am, and people, when he asks for double the amount that I charge, and the client feels that it's a steal to get this guy at this price. What was the difference? It is about the perception they had about that person. Perception not about what that guy looks like. Perception not about how good his proposal was. Perception not about what his company is known for. The perception was about the value that they will bring as a result, right? And the value that so for example, a very well-known aspirational brand in terms of a human being, the value could be in terms of the number of doors that they can open for their client, क्योंकि उनका network वैसा है, ठीक है ना? So start thinking, start introspecting. What is the emotion getting triggered in the mind of my client when I'm pitching to him? Is there a fear कि वो कर पाएंगे नहीं कर पाएंगे? Is it excitement of the opportunity? What, I'm getting this consulting, he's agreed to spend time with me, right? Or the comfort that now if he comes on board, I'm very clear he'll be able to solve my problem. आपके घर में कुछ पेंटर्स होते हैं, कुछ कारपेंटर आते हैं जो बहुत सालों से आ रहे हैं, ठीक है ना? आप उनको, यू आर कंफर्टेबल विद हिम, कि कुछ चाबी भी दे जाओ, मैं जा रहा हूँ, ये अपने आप काम वाम कर लेगा, मेरा घर सेफ है. लेकिन कोई दूसरा कारपेंटर आता है तो आप कहते हैं यार मेरे को छुट्टी लेकर घर में बैठना पड़ेगा, मैं उसको घर अकेला नहीं छोड़ के जा सकता, ठीक है ना? So that is the difference. When we are pitching to a client, what is the comfort level? What are the emotions that we are triggering in his head is what we should be bothered of. उसको comfort कैसे मिलेगा जब उसको लगेगा कि the value for the money that I spend is much higher, or the comfort that I don't have the सिरदर्दी, एक बारी इनको दे दिया तो काम हो जाएगा. So are you known for the value that you bring to the table? Are you helping people feel comforted that the job will be done? That is what you need to figure out. And it has to be something that you will have to start building, and it will happen over a period of time. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने आज काम करना शुरू किया तो एक हफ्ते बाद आपका ब्रांड बन गया, ठीक है ना? बहुत सारे एक्सपीरियंसेस होंगे, बहुत सारा काम होगा, बहुत सारे लोग आपके साथ काम करेंगे, और दुनिया आपके बारे में जब अच्छा बोलेगी तब आपका ब्रांड बनता है. Until that time, you are just marketing yourself.
Okay.
I hope I have answered your question. Or
Yes, yes, very nicely. You very nicely said कि एक कारपेंटर हमारे यहाँ वर्षों से काम कर रहा है, उसको चाबी दे के चले जाएंगे, और एक नया आदमी है तो उसके ट्रस्ट होने में टाइम लगता है. So ये बहुत ही वैल्यूएबल बात बताई आपने, क्योंकि हम अभी तक जॉब मार्केट में थे एंड स्टार्टेड माय बिजनेस फॉर पास्ट 2.5 years. तो आप पुराने जो उनके पुराने जो भी कंसल्टेंट्स हैं वो काफी सालों से साथ में हैं, तो एक नया आदमी एस्टेब्लिश होने में टाइम लगेगा. सो थैंक यू
मैं आपको एक सजेशन देता हूँ. I do not know your profession, but
लेबर लॉ कंसल्टेंट एंड एडवोकेट.
ठीक है. So मैं आपको, I'll just share with you something that I feel can usually helps everyone, and that is the power of storytelling.
पावर ऑफ स्टोरी टेलिंग.
जी. I mean, you know, when I tell people about the things that I've done in the past, how I tell them creates a value that अच्छा इन्होंने ये किया है तो मेरे लिए ये कर सकते हैं, ठीक है ना?
Excellent.
क्योंकि अभी आपने बोला कि मैंने सिर्फ 2.5 साल से बिजनेस करना शुरू किया, उससे पहले मैं जॉब करता था, ठीक है ना? तो आपका एक्सपीरियंस अगर आप नहीं किसी को बताओगे तो सिर्फ 2.5 साल का है उस बिजनेस में, बट आपने अगर 30 साल 35 साल 20 साल नौकरी करी है, पहले आपने नौकरी में कहाँ कहाँ वैल्यू क्रिएट करी है, उसको आप अंडर एस्टिमेट क्यों करते हैं? स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट द स्टोरीज ऑफ जब मैंने ये किया था तो ऐसे हुआ है. You know, right now I just told you about my thought process of when I was working with YouTube to drive a point. It is nothing but a storytelling, sir. ठीक है ना? Start telling stories and कहीं ना किसी को आपकी स्टोरी में दम लगेगा, उनको छू जाएगी, तो दे माइट से कि यार आपके एक्सपीरियंस में आपने ये किया था, आप मेरे को बताओ कि मैं क्या करूं. इसी को कंसल्टिंग कहते हैं.
आई कैन रिलेट सर, क्योंकि मतलब कुछ लोगों को मुझे लग रहा था कि इनको कैसे क्लाइंट्स इतना पसंद करते हैं, तो मुझे याद आ रहा है कि उनका स्टोरी टेलिंग का हैबिट था.
जी.
सो बहुत ही अच्छा आपने एडवाइस दी है, ये दोनों बातें मैं याद रखूंगा.
थैंक यू सो मच सर.
जी, धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Vinay ji. Thank you for the good question. And Narula, thank you so much. So, without taking much of the time, Sendil sir, over to you for the summary.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Pankaj, and thank you very much, Alaguma. And thank you, Harbinder, for this awesome session about the personal brand, which is really more value than our inner self. So, with as time keeps pressing, let me give a glimpse or just about this today's session. We started with Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, quote, as your brand is what other people say about you when you are not in the room. So this brings a very strong emphasis about personal brand. As a leader, we should always start with listening. And second thing is everything in the earth, either living or non-living, has its own expiry. So the value is something immortal. So we should speak for ourselves even after our expiry. The way is bringing an executive presence in social media, branding, podcasting, TED Talk, and value of writing blog or something, so that our article or our effort speaks for ourselves even without our presence. So what I thought about the 360-degree feedback, what your experience journey is, what you thought about the people was not what you really realized when you got your feedback. And Alagmam was saying you had a very simple tactical approach of overcoming that challenge to build your personal brand through your mindset change as a transformation, such a way that our work should speak louder than our words. And this you quoted with the doctor as a service example. At the same time, we all agreed that we all human not born with the knowledge, which you resonated as don't limit yourself in sharing your learning and knowledge with others, as what you are not born with knowledge. All that we have earned is acquiring knowledge with the situation of our journey in life. As a people should be more approaching you and seeking you for your help and guidance. It doesn't mean that we need to carry it to our head. We need to be grounded, humble, and approachable at all cost of situations in our life. And how we would like to get remembered is connecting the hearts and minds of the people and society. Thank you very much. It's really a goosebump session for me, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Very well summarized, sir.
Thank you so much, Sendil sir. But sir, today you missed out to do your personal branding. Somewhere you did not share about you. Normally that happens. So that personal branding was missing today for you, sir.
Yeah, but I intentionally skipped it because the time was 7:40. I don't know about Harbinder son, but as you asked this question, it is my privacy to spare another 1 minute in this session. So let me introduce myself. I have been 50 years in this planet with 28 years of experience in industries of automotive field like General Electric, Lucas TVS. Presently been associated with Daimler India since 15 years. And been in a L&D training and development division of L&D and upskilling and soft skilling of the blue collar associates working in close to our product. Coming to the session, I have been associated with this Leadership Connect and doing this summary role since almost more than 1.5 years. And every session I try to be here to get imbibe from the learnings from the wisdom leaders.
Lovely, lovely. What an honor to meet you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So that's where, sir, your branding is like a summary leader, okay, for Leaders Connect. So thank you so much. So without taking much of time, over to you, Arul, for the vote of thanks, and then we can have a thanking video. And thank you so much, Narula sir. But it took long, so I hope that will work for you. Another 5 minutes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, Arul.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone for joining today's episode. And Harbinder sir, thanks for joining today's episode and giving us a great learning from your thoughts and your experience on the topic today. It was a really great experience for all of us. And without taking much time, so about the next week episode, we came up with a new initiative of inviting an author for the last week of every month. So to get the understanding of author's experience and then management and their experience in creating their own book. So details about the next week's episode will be shared in the social media platform shortly. So it's very simple to join the link. Join the community. Do click on the below link shared in the chat box. And now it gives me an immense pleasure to thank our guest, Mr. Harbinder, and panel discussion leader, Ms. Alagu, for spending their valuable time in sharing their experience solutions. Thank you. Over to you, Pankaj.
Okay, so are we having the thank you video?
Yes, yes,
okay,
yes.
So, sir, once again, thank you so much for your valuable time and experience sharing, sir. And we look forward to be in connect. I have already shared my, friend request on LinkedIn to you, sir. So, so we'll be in touch. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Once again,
thank you
sir.
so much for having me. Thank you for giving
Pleasures.
me this
Pleasure,
opportunity
thank
to
you
share
so
my
much.
thoughts.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Harbinder
you,
sir.
ma'am. You had, you moderated really well. I'm
Thank
sorry
you,
I
thank
took a little longer than what was planned, but
No,
I hope it was interesting for people.
no,
Worth
it was
it, sir.
worth
Worth
it,
it.
sir. It was worth it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to you for spending more time with us.
Yes.
Really appreciate. Really appreciate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Have a great evening. Thank you, Arul. Thank you so much.